Welcome back to the European Regional Qualifier, where one win separates each team from the finals and a chance at Worlds 2015. It's on like Donkey Kong because we have a Game 5 on our hands, and let's take a look at the picks and bans and what we've come to after 4 games in this series. Finally there, the first pick Azir was possible for Rocket, and they didn't waste a second getting it.
It's funny you'd say it's unlike Donkey Kong. This series has been all about the barrels, because once again, Gangplank shows his face and is a massive pick in picks and bans once again. This time, not first picked. This given over on first rotation, but it was the Azir for Nuke Duck that was picked up first by
As
Rocket.
I just said.
Yeah. I know.
I didn't mind the composition Rocket was running. I didn't like the way they were picking them, though. Again, Azir does not need to be first picked because Pickett did not show up on this champion before, so you shouldn't expect him to early rotation it, even though they probably would have, but then you should be able to play around it because, again, he didn't show a good performance. So you could have gone for the Gangplank as your first pick right here, and this game would have been completely different because Hecarim as a champion, Rocket is not good enough to be proactive, and they're not good enough at using teleports to make Hecarim work. It becomes too simple if all you can do is run straight at the enemy team and try and like dive the back line where they can see you. It's too little he can really do. It's not a Steve champion in my opinion. And he's not doing a good enough job on it to make it worth it to first pick an Azir in this case. Obviously now they will have a second pick on the red side. I think we might see Azir be banned again by Origin. I still think Nuke had a good performance overall before it started going really wrong for Rocket in this game.
Not only that, but they give away the Braum over with the first rotation with Gangplank. There's been so much priority on that Braum as a support, and we've seen Mythy just having such a good set of games. I think Braum's still 100% win rate here in this series, still 4-0. So certainly one maybe we're looking at if Azir's banned out could be a first pick as we go into this 5th game. Not something we've seen in a lot of other series, but certainly here it has been very high priority.
For now, we still see Elise also be very contested as a first pick, which I understand why teams are doing it. Again, it does secure that early game very effectively for you. And we can sit here and say, oh, but they're not winning the game in the early game because of whatever reason. Well, one of the reasons is that Elise is on the one side, and it's very tough to make plays against her. So it forces the other team to play passive. The same for this game, if we look at the entire game, how Origin, after we saw that mistake where Rocket was overstaying in the mid game, they got that kill onto Nuke Duck, they took the Baron, we were being like, okay, now the game is going to be sped up here. Now Origin can start making plays to start pushing down 3 lanes at once. And normally what happens when all 3 outer turrets are gone, the enemy team, their minimap basically shrinks down. They can't walk out, in the middle of the lane to clear a wave. They have to wait for the waves to hit the tower. So when you push it out, you can easily rotate to the side lanes and you can set up a dive. But then there's a teleport Azir sitting in mid lane who will prevent that from happening because he's going to TP down and stop the dive. So Origin was very passive, very slow. And it's just been the story for both teams, really. Nobody can commit properly in the early game. Nobody has a good enough mid-game either to snowball out of control. So we get these very, very late-game fights where it's all about the scaling.
There was a lot in this game. We wanted to go all the way back to the beginning. It was a long, long time ago. With the first blood, actually, we wanted to take another look at the tower dive that did result in the first blood. You said that it was difficult to make plays early on. This was not a tower dive that we really expected first blood to come from. 4 versus 3 under the tower. We were expecting that Origin would be able to get out of here alive.
Once again, though, it's also Origin who are a lot faster taking down the first tower in the lane swap. So Source gets a bit of extra farm, while Steve is forced to leave his own lane and rotate all the way to top to try and force this dive here. And normally 3 guys is enough to defend, but we can just roll it out, and we see one of the reasons Elise is a contested pick. Because in the early game, she can take the aggro from a tower, repel up in the air, or even walk out in this case, because why not? You're Yankers, you can do whatever you want. And you have such a strong early game to make these plays, which should start the small snowball in this case, get it rolling down the hill. Yet though, because Origin had a way better setup in this lane swap, because they were, again, faster, extra farm on Soaz, even though they lost a member here and he had to back away, he was still ahead in farm. And then down the bottom lane, Nils was free farming, and he was ahead in CS all game long, and it was a big deal coming into the mid game how he had such a strong start. And Rocket needs to fix his lane swap so they don't fall behind as much as they did in this game, at least.
All right, finally, to wrap up that last game and going into next game, let's take a look at the damage graph we looked at for top, mid, and AD carry, because Trevor already mentioned that Gangplank and the way Soaz plays it with that damage behind him.
Oh, Corky didn't do any, apparently. No, we know he was putting up damage himself. But no, so is Gangplank. Actually, somewhat matched by the Azir and the Kog'Maw when you look at it. Whoa, damage is
Tons
off
of
the
damage.
charts. So much damage. Well, lots of Trinity forces in this
Sure.
game. But, you know, I think the key factor there is there's a lot of damage onto minions by the Gangplank, but not always were you getting the right barrels in fights. So while it looks like he has this massive amount with like 2,500...
Pretty sure the damage to champions.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh.
It's 2,500 crits to minions, but if you're not landing the barrels, if you're not getting the right setup, you're only getting damage from the other.
Soaz will always land it. I mean, this guy, I'm going to say it, is right now the best Gangplank in the world.
Ooh.
We haven't seen enough from other regions yet, so Soaz, he's the king.
Sadly, with OG on the blue side, it's probably going to be banned on the red
Should
side.
be.
And, well, we'll see what happens then. What becomes the priority for OG? We could talk about it forever, but instead we're going to look what happens. The teams are ready to go. We're going to send it over to the caster desk for the final champion select of the series.
Thank you very much. You put Deficio in the analyst desk, and he's throwing around world titles willy-nilly. Amazing and Mythi are the best duo in the West. Soaz is the best Gangplank in the world. I mean, hey, I'm looking forward to it. It's showing out so far. Amazing and Mythi definitely looked much better in the previous game, game 4, than they did in game 3. Now, picks and bans, Crepo. How on earth do you plan for this?
Well,
Origin blue side.
Origin blue side, so obviously I think they can leave open the Azir, but this time they're not gonna bait Rocket and using their one pick to pick a champion that they don't even like, that isn't even contested. So really big slip up, and Yamato has shown that he does adapt between drafts. We'll need to see, in my opinion, get rid of Braum or Gangplank, or at least trade them evenly, so at least we can break up the 100% win rate on some of these champions. You get one each, destined to lose. Unless we go to late game until everybody dies of exhaustion, but probably not gonna happen. Yasuo is a good ban, however. It is something Pekka doesn't play. It's something that neutralizes a lot of Origin's playstyle. It was incredibly potent in combination with that Braum, so that's one good ban already. Rocket, that Lulu ban.
100% red side. Every team that has been red has banned Lily. The only time it was not the first time, or the first ban red, was Origin in game 2. But neither team wants to let it through. So Origin have also banned Sivir, have also banned Fizz, have also banned Elise in previous games. This time around it will be the Fizz. We know that's a flex for both Steve and Nukta. They've both run it in the past.
I mean, we could actually see one of the two junglers banned, the other one picked up eventually. Rocket banned out Gangplank right now. This is leaning towards a Braum first pick for Origin so far in terms of priorities within this series. Xpeke's champion pool is wide open, so it's not as pinched as it was game 1 where he had to play Vladimir into the Ahri. Rocket will maybe even start using their 5th pick counter pick for Nuktak instead of Steve, because it hasn't really been paying off the last 2 games. Origin, stay afraid of the Azir, because this time they're not trading it for anything. They'll actually have to play against it and lose some picks in the process too.
First pick Braum. Is that where Mythi and Origin lead?
That's what I would do.
Is
Then again,
Sivir worth giving over?
it's true, Rawls has played a mean Sivir in this series, but it's tricky. I think Braum has more value than Sivir overall.
It's probably what the team is discussing. So let's assume it's Braum. Where does Roccat look as their first rotation there?
Definitely Sivir. Sivir Gragas, I could see them picking up here. Just stick to comfort champions, especially in game 5.
And we'll see if they follow through that. Gragas, of course. Memory serves is 3-4-0. No, 3-1 on the series. 3-1. Lost one game right at the beginning.
You could actually see some merit from Nuktak picking Victor here away from Xpeke. However, it's pretty tricky to play.
And we forgot about Callista completely.
True, but there's a reason Origin has put less emphasis on it. They don't seem to be as scared of Rawl's Callista overall. Also, the way to beat a Callista is literally just free up your AD carry and roam with your support to pull away the support, and then Callista's left 1v1ing without the passive, and that is something that Origin is very strong at.
And Rocket actually banned Callista in all 4 previous games regardless of side.
Yeah.
This time around they're going to pick it up. So maybe it's the long con. Maybe it is.
Everybody forget about Callista. No, I think it's worth though, because if you've been banning it every game, you can't give it to Niels, not with the peel that Braum survives. Callista Braum, incredibly strong lane, so overall, good rotation by Rocket. Now amazing hovering that Elise. We've seen a lot of these jungle pairings in these series. Maybe he can make it work, but we'll need to see some aggression and ganks pay off.
Yeah, we saw him play Echo earlier in the series as well. Didn't go that well for him, at least this time, and the victor for Peke. So he's going to have the late game, is scaling already.
Yeah, Peke knows that he'll probably get counterpicked anyways. If he goes to the next rotation, then they'll just leave the counterpick for Nukeduck later. So he just picks this champion up to give soaz more information to play with. Origen looking to carry from the top lane. Support and mid laner picked up here and then counterpick for Steve later. That is what Rocket wants to do. They obviously have multiple angles to go about that thing.
I know what they prioritize. This is 5.14. If anybody is just tuning in, this
Yeah,
is
if you're
game
wondering
5.
why there's no Fiora spam just yet,
Yeah.
hang on.
That should hopefully be next week in the promotion tournament. And we will be on 5.15. 15 seconds left. The champion, that Nukeduck, will be running into Peke.
I hope he doesn't go Kassin, because I think this is good for Origin in that regard, that low wave clear champions that need scaling are just too weak in the current metagame. Diana is relatively low wave clear, but she packs a punch, and she can start split pushing later on. So skirmish heavy composition by Rocket. Into an aggressive and good peel support though. A bit tricky.
Will be. Steve has not changed his summoner spells yet. He's run the Hecarim. We heard the analyst desk talking about how Rocket were not quite good enough to execute those on sort of shadow flanks. And when you think about it, it paid out in that previous game. We did not see very impactful flanks, not like the Maokai from earlier.
I think Steve is going back to Maokai here. And Rocket will put all their eggs in the just skirmish teleport basket. This would actually be smart.
If Origin deny Maokai in their last rotation, that might be
plays
something that
well.
catches out.
Maokai plays well in the composition that Rocket is running here. Going Sivir is bold though. If you get match 2v2 against Kalista Thresh, you're gonna have a pretty hard time. But Niels is one of those carries that positions oh so well and can just survive. With Maokai combined with On the Hunt, not only can you teleport flank with home guards, you can straight up just come from the front door because you have that On the Hunt speed bonus. I like Origin's composition overall.
Now let's see if Origin can play around this Maokai. This is the first time that soaz has run the giant tree all split long.
I think it's so smart that Xpeke picked his mid lane in the second rotation, saying otherwise I'll get counterpicked anyways. Forced Rocket to use the counterpick for Steve, who then was planning on playing Maokai anyways, it seems. And then they steal it away. So this is a good pick and ban adaptation because to me, soaz, it doesn't scream Maokai player, right? Do you think coming to the series, if they would have told you like, game 5 and soaz will last rotation pick Maokai to win the game, I'd be like, yeah, okay, no. But
That
seems like Steve has to go for Nautilus, CC, engage, but I feel it's like a Maokai light.
And it is also the first time that we will see Nautilus in Steve's hands all summer long. So new tanks for both of the top laners in the deciding battle of the semi-finals of the regional qualifiers.
And this entire series has been about who has more tempo, who has more innate wave clear in a lot of these games especially. Having the instant wave clear from Victor, instant wave clear from Sivir, you can get so much tempo for map play, so I could have a wealth of CC hard engage, double teleport for picks. They need to win the early game. This is a composition, something like almost SKT-esque that they've run in the finals there, where they say, well, we're just gonna completely blow you off the map by the 50-minute mark. Doesn't matter what you're running. So in that sense, Rocket will have to take that early game in their hands and control it, but Rocket's not a team that usually does that.
No, and we saw in the previous game, yes, it was a teleporter Zia, but Nukeduck did not use that to gain an advantage. We did not see that teleport from Hecarim being impactful at all in the early and the mid stages of the game. So for Rocket, it's finding first gear, which is something they've not done. They've started in second gear, all split long. This will be the last match of the European Regional Qualifier semi-finals. There's your team comps, ladies and gentlemen. The fan favorites coming into the game. Hashtag OG win. Let us know if you think they're going to close it out.
If you think Rocket is actually going to upset this match, hashtag ROC win. Personally, I'm giving to Origin if they survive the first 15 minutes. It's going to be rough, Toasters. There's a lot of damage and crowd control coming out of the Rocket lineup. Do not underestimate it. That's all, especially in this 1-3-1 situation. However, they don't have a wave clear. If they fall behind, nobody can take up the job from wave clear mid. Unless it's the Diana, but the same token as it was with the Azir, she can get pushed out the tower before she can even wave clear.
I want to see Origin play the same early game they did in the previous match. Rotating quickly to get those outer turrets down. gain an early lead. That might be a way
I like
to
this play.
overcome the power. Braum passive from Winter's Bite. That could be the stun onto Steve. The sapling's gonna go for the slow. That's one tag. Look for the fourth, 2, 3. One more for the stun. Steve's gonna make it to his tower. And Origin are gonna keep pushing in. Rocket, they've responded though. Crepo, we're gonna have an action-packed start to game 5. Vander gets a flay onto Amazing. The supporters coming in from the rest of Rocket. And
I don't think you want to do that, Rocket. You don't want to fight into a Sivir, Braum, Victor lineup. It is too easy for them to do AoE damage, and the one target that's in the front is going to be Braum passive, concussive blows. You leave the jungle with a headache. No counter vision right now. This is the problem. If you take a fight and you lose it, not only do you yield complete vision in your jungle, you don't get anything in return. Rocket could have easily shifted towards the other side of the map and went for a lace-up. Now they're guessing. They're in the dark.
we'll find out how lucky their guesswork can be. Because we've seen fairly low impact early games. Standard lanes, a couple of them, 2 lane swaps immediately following.
See, Niels, he doesn't have to guess. He's waiting for information. He sees Vander. Now he's going to spot the Kalista from Mr. Rawas, and he says, okay, you guys are top lane. I'm going bot lane.
Yeah.
Standard duo jungle leaves Soas the option to go wherever he wants. He's going to tag team together with Amazing right now and just jungle together. Niels is going to the bot lane a little late. And then Miffy's just going to go exploring.
That's what Mithy likes to do.
Dora, the explorer.
Yeah, likes to
Mithy.
move around the map. And that's something that is actually important to note. With Niels on a strong wave clear ADC and Mithy on that strong roaming support, there is once again opportunities for him to make plays once he unlocks Niels in this lane. For now, we'll be sticking with him. As you can see, Mr. Riles and Vander up top, and the 2 junglers in the respective jungles.
I'd like to see Vander just base right here, defend the dive, because Amazing and Soas have to come all the way from the left side of the map to the bottom side. Niels is so pushing this wave. It's going to go in the bottom lane. Rocket could opt for a 3-man defense. Gragas, Nautilus together with Thresh could prove very hard to dive overall.
Yeah, but look at this middle lane. Mithy has already roamed. Gets an auto attack down. 2 procs, 3. Stun from Concussive. The Ignite is out. Nukeduck's ticking 100 HP. I don't think he's going to dive. Steve is looking to reply. Mithy's going to get the stun once more. Here comes Vander as well. It's a party in the middle lane, and Rockout has invited everybody. The barrel goes up. Mithy's going to eat that death sentence down to 300 HP. He's now burning away from the Ignite and peeling away. The fight continues. 3 versus... 3 or 4. Hell, there's even a teleport coming in from Steve.
Nope,
I
Nukeduck.
take it back. It's Nukeduck. 2 teleports in the game. Nukeduck arrives back in lane, and the action subsides for now.
The problem is, if you can force a lane swap situation where you peel away the support, Kalista is rendered useless. She has no tower pushing abilities, no AoE wave clear. She doesn't get to use her passive, her trading potential at all. Yes, she gets levels, but who cares? Sivir is getting a free early game right here, so overall, Origin is doing fantastic in terms of where they get the members, and that comes all down to the level 1 play. That cheeky little move where they had Soas selling the fact that it was 1v1, Braum comes out, forces out the Nautilus, get the invade, and Origin set up beautifully for, an early game lead.
So, strong advantage if they can defend this tower. Origin have moved up. Soaz and Mithy got the saplings, and Soaz is even going to juke the death sentence with that twisted advance. Origin sitting comfortably with a 1 tower lead, with a gold lead, and they're going to have wave clear for days with that Victor, with that Sivir.
And look at poor Steve. Level 2 has to walk down the bot lane to a wave that is pushing into Niels. So he'll take maybe 6 CS, and then he'll have to leave that lane immediately because he has no vision. He's at risk of getting ganked. So yes, he's level 3, but falling behind Soas yet again. Look, he walked all the way down his lane, killed the creeps, and now he's basing.
Difficult situation for Steve, but it's one that he's been in many times this split. We've seen a bunch of parties in this middle lane. Oh, hey, Apollo. He is enjoying the LA viewing party. Thank you very much, North American Studio. I know you guys are there. That was them very quickly. Hi and hi. Definitely saying hi, enjoying the show. Cloud9 versus Team Unfold will follow.
Where's LA? Here's LA. Peekaboo.
Peekaboo, we see you. And I guess I'm going to say thank you to the fans, and I'm going to apologize to Team Impulse and Counter Logic Gaming for added tension. Anyways, we're going to focus back in the deciding match of our semifinals. Niels and Mithy trying to stall or freeze that lane a little, but it'll slow push back towards Mr. Riles and Vander, and there's no tower to fall back to. So that could be an opening for Amazing if Riles and Vander stick around.
Yeah, and Expected will have to be careful though. If he ever gets caught by one of these blades from Nuktuk, he will just jump in and completely wreck him. So max range wave clear is the name of the game. He needs to survive. This bot lane's pushing out right now. So Vander and Riles could try to go aggressive, but there's a teleport available on both Steve and Soas.
So we talked about no tower bottom. Here comes Amazing. The slow's connected on Vander. The death sentence connected on
teleports.
Mithy. There's a body slam as well. Mithy's going low. Summoner heal comes up. First blood to release the champion that's not had an impact this series. And there'll be a second kill for Niels onto Riles. AD carry takes out the AD carry. Jankos is able to retreat and no TPs down bottom.
Yeah, both top laners can cancel each other, so then it matters only who's winning that fight initially. And that was Origin. Braum passive just in these extended skirmishes, just proving why this champion is much more useful than Vander. Vander got focused down, stunned immediately. Kalista couldn't do any damage because it was all focused on Mithy. Once he goes low, he steps out of the fray. Good gank here, and this all snowballs from the early game.
Yeah, and Crepper, you said in early game, Rocket needed to get ahead. Maybe killing Amazing will help out. So he's going to repel up, drop back down onto Nuktuk. Wow, Mithy's even going to find the stun.
Surprise!
He's cut Nuktuk off. The lantern's available, but it's not being clicked. Mithy's body blocking it. The death sentence will be followed through, but it doesn't matter. Mithy with the exceptional positioning. Jankos now finds himself in front of Niels, and Origin have a 3,000 gold lead at 7 minutes.
Rocket have completely run out of fuel. They're crumbling under the pressure. The pick and ban was risky because they had to make the early picks, but due to the genius invade early, trading deep vision for nothing, Origin got the lanes they needed. This would have been an entirely different game if we had 1v1 matchups in all the lanes, but Origin playing the lane swap to the perfection. That early roam from Mithy to the mid lane got Expected the window that he needed, and ever since that one moment, Rocket with one tower behind in the push and at least 2 steps behind on the map, and Origin capitalizing beautifully.
Siva, being played by Niels, now has a BF sword and a pickaxe versus the Vamp Scepter from Kalista. It's going to be such a long time before Riles is going to be able to go toe-to-toe. 12,400 gold, 10,400. That extra chunk was earned by Rocket securing the tower up top.
And Mithy picks up Moby Boots and a couple of wards. He doesn't need Sidestone. All he needs is Moby Boots to quickly get into the positions where he needs to get the most value out of those few wards. And that's what he's doing right now. They shift away Riles again. Even though he has an item advantage, he doesn't want to lane against Mr. Riles at all. Niels going top right now. That BF pickaxe just taking out that tower. It's incredibly slow for Mr. Riles and Vander to fight Soas in his bot lane. They're not going to get this tower. Whereas the top lane OG can instantly just wreck that tower. No threat from the Nautilus at all, unless Jankos shows up. That's an amazing job. Find Jankos, neutralize him.
Let's see, Amazing's up in the top half of the map. Jankos will show down bottom. And Soaz has got no teleport to work with. So Niels take one extra wave to kill a tower. The help of Jankos means this tower will be equalized. There's going to be some assist gold shared around, so they've traded outer turrets top and bottom.
Look at Peke.
Wow.
Nuktuk's taking blue buff on his own, so that leaves mid lane exposed, and Origin opening up the map. Gravity field for zone. Nuktuk has to take the scenic route to Summer's Lift. He's losing half his mid lane tower. Niels can just go mid right now or top, wherever he wants. Whatever his heart desires, it is available to him.
And so much respect to Origin for looking at the team compositions and the play styles of the series. Adjusting to pick waves that can, or lanes that can shove, that can push. Denying the Maokai from Steve, somewhat predicting that from picks and bans. And we're back in the mid lane. This is not a replay. This is live, and this is another fight that's breaking out. Depth charge is going to catch out Peke. The death sentence will follow as well. Mr. Riles is the one that gets the kill credit. That's very important. Niels is now trying to retreat, but he gets caught by Nuktuk. Vander gets thrown in. I think the death sentence hit a minion. I wasn't quite sure about that. Kill back for Rockets.
Yeah, that's what Rocket wants to do. Skirmish, kill Origin, remove their wave clear, and then go for the tower. They only get one kill using all their ultimates, and most importantly, they don't tie any objective to that kill. So yes, it looks like a convincing fight. However, it's only one kill, couple hundred gold overall. Doesn't all get them too much, and they actually lose the momentum too because they all have to base. Spec is going to come back mid. There's a good possibility that this mid lane tower is just simply going to drop dead.
Especially if Niels sticks around. Picked himself up an Avarice Blade as well. We're 10 minutes in. He's got a BF Sword, Pickaxe, and Avarice. And Jankos has even denied his red buff.
So I said thank you very much for the leash. I'll take that.
Happily. Vengeful Maelstrom and a couple of autos.
And look at how long it takes for Mr. Rawls to push out this bot wave. Nukeduck has to use all his spells to push out mid. Such a slow tempo match because you don't have innate wave clear. It's so easy for Origin to speed up the game. Do I want to go mid? Sure, I'll push out bot. It takes me 2 seconds if I'm Rawls. It takes me 1 second if I'm expecting. Even Maokai has a really quick push if he pops ultimate, so Origin can just rotate around the map much better, and then they can use that jungle combination with support for extreme amount of vision control.
What a difference Mithy is showing this game in terms of map presence. We're 11 minutes in, and every single kill, he's been around or involved in some way, shape, or form. At least landing those Braum passives, letting Niels look after himself. Obviously, helps with Niels, he's got so much AD. But again, Peke, amazing. Mithy.
So yeah, Nukeduck, he has to walk into the wave and he can only AoE 3 picks at once if he's zoned off. It's the same story as when he was playing Azir last game. Origin would group up with 3 members and just force him backwards. They're not going to fight him, but just going to tell him, well, either you jump into us and die, or you walk away and watch us take your tower. Rocket obviously need to cross-map somewhere else, but they don't have the push or siege to deal with anybody defending these towers. Origin can defend 1v2, 3v2. Nukeduck can't. That's why they're trading towers so efficiently.
Even going to steal away that Razorbeak. Whichever team loses this game is done for 2015.
Early vacation.
They are secured for spring next year. There will be no more chances for Worlds. There will be no more competition. The spell shield gets blocked and Steve does the awkward half pull. But again, look, even the inner turret top is now under siege. We're 12 minutes in.
Yeah, but we're seeing the value of this steal of the Maokai by Origin in the draft phase. Steve has been rendered useless. He's a glorified support at this point. So as fulfilling his role slightly up, but that's all he needs to be. A couple of experience advantages, and later on, Teleport's flank will be much more crucial and much more valuable for Origin than they are compared to Steve. What's Steve going to do? He's going to walk up, cast ulti. It takes time. So as he can Homeguard teleport in, Twisted Advance, lock down one of these very squishy targets. Either he gets Nukeduck or Mr. Rawls, they're going to get blown to smithereens immediately. Any return damage will be peeled from Exhaust, Braum on Mithy. So it's a lot easier to play this game once Origin gets the lead.
And they've had it the entire time. Pushing it as well. It's a pace that Origin are playing at that we've not seen.
Rocket did make it easy for them with the draft phase. This team composition comes online at level 6 when Diana can get those resets on the ultimate. There's base damage is enough from Steve, but Rocket kind of got shut down before that due to some really magnificent roams and pressure from mostly Mithy and Amazing.
And that is the duo that I was giving Deficio some trouble for in the pre-game.
Look at this, looking for a pick.
It's not going to work.
1v3. So he's going to lose his tower.
Not going to work. Boomerang, Blade, Auto, Nukeduck's forced to flash.
It's actually worth. This is worth it for
defend
Nukeduck.
the tower.
Defend the tower. Force an ultimate. This was ironically the mistake from Origin. They can pick up a Constellation Dragon if they want to. Second one of the game. There are almost no bad moves to make for Origin at this point in the match. Unless they take an overzealous fight without vision.
You can argue the most optimal, but even though they didn't get the tower, they got some damage. They got a flash from Nukeduck, so if Soaz wants to TP in, he could be in trouble. Let's see, do they get blue buff as well? It looks like that is available, if I'm reading the map correctly. Yes, Peke and Amazing and a steal. So, Rocket?
Soaz steals red buff. Peke steals blue buff. Rocket haven't even pushed the minion wave past the river point. They're playing constantly on their own map. They're being denied their own jungle camps. This means Jankos is going to be getting incredibly far behind. And if he's taking the camps, his laners are getting incredibly far behind. There's such a experience advantage too in Origin. They're pushing down a snowball. They can take it slow. They don't have to greed and dive at Diana. That's the only way they kind of give the comeback. Simply push out that gold lead. You're already on 2 dragons. It's too early to even start thinking about Baron. Comfortable position here, 3 towers to 2.
An impressive play from Origin. They were down 2-1 in the series. They needed to string together 2 back-to-back games to advance further and get closer to Worlds. This is the type of game I was personally expecting for the entire series from Origin. Cleaner pick and bans, better executed early game, more aggressive play from Origin. It's taken a few games to get there, but this is now one of the highs of Origin as a team. But Rocket do still have some options available to them.
Origin did give away a lot of information on their playstyle and picks and bans for Unicorns tomorrow. Unicorns are the final boss in this not-so-elite 4 in the gauntlet. Again, another red buff steal here from Origin, just really snowballing that map lead. They're not going for any picks, they're just simply taking away the jungle piece by piece, camp by camp, and then threatening once they see everybody on the map, then they can make their move. Calculated.
See, deep vision set up in Rockat's jungle. Origin gonna just shove the minion wave in, but they're not gonna commit to the fight.
But they're gonna rotate mid, I believe.
Well, looks to be the case. There's Pekka. He's set up and shoving it in with those death ray lasers. Gravity Field's about to time though, so this could be trouble. Their sentence throws out. It's Mithy that's caught. He does have Glacial Fissure. On the hunt is down. Stand behind me from Mithy. Pekka gets caught, eats a turret shot before he's flashed, but Mr. Riles is down. One of the big damage sources is out. Amazing, forced to flash as well. Niels gets away from the barrel, and Soaz will have to cancel that TP. Risk of getting caught. Tower defended at the cost of Riles' life.
And they trade Rawls for tower defense, but Origin, what they need to do, they chip away at the tower, they back off when they need to. Mithy steps into the hook, he doesn't want to take any risks. Niels spell shielding too late or anybody getting caught, because he knows he can always dash out, Glacial Fissure flash. He waited with his flash until Jankos threw the explosive cast, so controlled aggression from Origin. Soaz could have teleported earlier. Skara. It's really hard war to play. Not really though.
You might even be watching. Shout out.
Sorry, Scar, don't hate me.
Origin.
I actually played a game against him once where he failed a ward and I walked to the Dragon Pit and I did it like 3 times in a row. It was kind of the end. I'd just like to take this moment to apologize to Scar for that moment. Please don't hate me.
You know what? It takes a big man to apologize, Crapo. I respect that.
Back to the game.
Where Origin are 4,000 gold up. They're 3 towers to 2. But they've tried to siege that middle tower twice now, and twice it's been defended. It cost a flash from Nukeduck previously.
Yeah, but Origin, they don't really care whether they take it now, a minute from now, 2 minutes from now. All they care about is keeping Rocket pushed in, deep vision. If they operate under complete information and they play the game right, they're not going to lose it. Origin is smart enough as a team, shot calling wise, experience wise, mentality wise, and even composition wise, that they can take this game home. The only thing they can do is overreach, get their hand too deep in the cookie jar and get it shut.
Now, don't turn into the cookie monster. The control needs to be had. Jankos got caught by the Winter's Bite in the cocoon, but there's no follow-up from Origin. Niels is in the bottom lane, Soaz is pushing the top lane. Teleport was used by Nukeduck as well, so Steve is the only member of the game that has TP available for now.
And once chaos ensues, keep an eye on Mithy and his exhaust as well. Exhaust is much more valuable against his very telegraphed engage from Diana. Soaz is flanking left side of mid, top left of your screen.
He's going to find Mr. Riles. Flash for flash, follows him into the twisted advance. Good defensive cast from Jankos, but I think it's still going to cost the tower.
Wave clear.
The tower is down. Sapling is even going to zone them away. A minute later, with all the wards and the control and the fact Soaz zoned from top, Origin just rotate top and will set their sights on another inner tower.
Slow push top, move to the mid lane, make a pick, force them out, take mid lane tower, then catch that wave on the top lane. Careful for the Nautilus in the brush. And rotations come out, and this is Origin playing the game very well. They have to be careful though.
Well, Pick is going to get caught by the mine. Mithy's going to put a beautiful Glacial Fissure down. The gravity field zones anyone from Rocket getting in, and Jankos is down. He rides the lantern to safety as Rawls hops away. So one member of Rocket down. Rocket do get a tower down bottom. Nukeduck is pushing. Teleport is not available. Soaz is going to say, I want this fight. Righteous Glory is up. Vengeful Maelstrom is down. They're trading back and forth. The damage mitigation is there. Pops. Soaz is kind of winning this fight, but it's going to keep extending. The tower dropped up top. Arcane Smash. Soaz is regenning. Every time Nukeduck casts a spell, Soaz gets a chance to get HP back. The giant tree chases Lady of the Moon away.
And this is worrisome for Rocket. The last sliver of hope, the one potential win condition could be Diana split pushing, incredibly potent 1v1. Soaz says, well, it's not going to happen. You're not going to take me down, and if you do, it'll take you 2 centuries. I'll be a bigger tree by then. And Origin can just win the rest of the map 4v4. So fantastic positioning for Origin to close out the game. Finally in this series, they didn't want it to go to a game 5, but they sure as hell be happy taking this series home.
Yeah, for every kill that Origin have accrued, they've also earned themselves 1,000 gold more than Rocket. Dragon is on the line here. The teleport comes out from Soaz. It is secured by Rocket. That's important. But how much will it cost them? Yankos is dead. Mr. Rolls is exhausted. His damage is mitigated. Pekka burns him down with a death ray. Steve goes golden, but it's not the gold you want because it's Mithy that sends him home. Mithy and Origin looking to send Rocket to an early vacation in 2015. Are they going for a 21-minute Baron? That seems to be the case, Crepo.
Tribute to Fnatic, who obviously like doing this place. Yeah, Rocket completely getting annihilated here. Desperation, Dragon. If they don't take it, Origin will get 5 Dragons early. If they do take it, they'll lose the fight. Almost no perceived good play to be made. They have to get for a Hail Mary here, but Nuktuk's gonna jump in. Mithy uses Exhaust though, so keep your eyes on Nuktuk. Can he get some damage? I doubt it.
Let's take a look. Pale Cascade is there, and he just rides the Lantern to safety. 21-minute Baron. Origin have got nearly 10,000 gold lead at 20 minutes. This is that team fight again.
At this point, Yankos walks in to secure the Baron, but yeah, there's no shot calling at this point anymore. Rocket, I can almost guarantee you that they had no backup plan. All they said, maybe try Baron. And then what? Do we disengage? Do we get a Lantern ready? Do we escape? Are we gonna rend, try and steal it? No, they're just like Baron, or Dragon, and then what? Just impossible situation for them to be in, mostly due to the way they decided to choose their champions. They won the draft, games 1, 2, and 3. Arguably lost it game 4, and definitely lost it, in my opinion, game 5, and it's showing.
Clear weaknesses, and with a 20-minute Baron, hell, there's not even enough attack damage for Mr. Rolls to clean these waves efficiently. I don't know how on earth Diana or Nautilus is going to do it.
If only Rocket had managed to capitalize on that 4,000 early game gold lead they had against Origin game 1, where they allowed a 0 wave clear composition with 3 split pushes and no mid laner, kinda, to come back into the game. They're probably not gonna watch that VOD anytime soon. Overall, they can be proud though. They put up a fight against Origin, something people didn't really expect. They've shown a lot of progression. Good picks and bans games 1, 2, and 3, so can go home with their head held up high, but it'll definitely be a painful blow.
Bittersweet victory for Rocket. Team that is...
Defeat.
Yeah, bittersweet defeat if this game gets closed down, and it looks like it will. Soaz is looking for a target. Ban has been pulled away by Fate's Call. Yankos will once again be falling short. He's managed to survive a few seconds longer as he peels away. Nuktuk is in fact down, as is Steve. Inhibitor's going to drop as well in Origin. They may even look to push in. Let's see how confident they are. It's 23 minutes into the game, Crepo. Origin are onto Nexus turret number 1. There is nothing that Rocket can do. That kitty cat is being sent home by Origin with a final score of 3-2. And Origin will face the final boss, Unicorns of Love, with one more shot at the World Championships. Amazing. I do not fault you for that one. It was a long series, a challenging series.
Why would you power walk off stage when you can crawl? That's what it took for Origin to get through this game. Very, very clean game. 11-1. Ended the game with 10,300 gold in the lead. Deserved the victory in the end, but it was close. Closer than it should have been. Good adaptation in picks and bans, good resilience, both game 1 and throughout the entire series. Origin can be proud of themselves, and yeah, facing Unicorns tomorrow.
It's good experience for Origin to realize where some of their weaknesses are this series. It is also good to see Rocket actually step up when it matters. To challenge Origin, a team that was such strong favorites. Rocket managing to show they can win picks and bans. They can execute strategies. They are still in a little bit of slow motion overall.
But Unicorns, if they're watching this, they know about Mithy's Braum, and just Braum in general. I think Hillsang was actually the first one in Summer Split to bring out that champion. It was a counter to Poke. Then he kind of got put it back in the fridge and now re-emerged. And yeah, strong champion. Mithy's propensity, I never thought I'd say this, but he's really good at taking skill shots. Never thought that could be a talent, but every time Skills is coming towards any of his carries, he's going, no!
Crepo, if that is a skill that we're praising, then maybe there's hope for me after all. I did see big smiles on the faces of Rocket there at the end of the game, and yes, Origin looks stressed. They still have a best of 5 to play. Remember, this is win your best of 5, stay alive. Lose, you are done for the year.
Yeah.
Giants have fallen by the wayside. Rocket have fallen by the wayside. They were the results most people expected, but not in the manner that they both played out. Now, Origin versus Unicorns tomorrow. The winner goes to Worlds.
Winner goes to Worlds. Definitely a lot of information here exposed from Origin, potential weaknesses in picks and bans. However, some of them fixed immediately by Ducky. What I doubt is, will Unicorns have the tools to really punish Origin for their weaknesses? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a big question, but I mean, Amazing looks like a broken man right now.
It's tiresome. Playing
It
5
is.
games in a row, League of Legends, it's a tough job.
It's 5 hours and 10 minutes that we've been on stage. For a best of 5 that Origin have to compete, not only just to stay alive in the regional qualifier, but they still have to do this again. And they have to do it against a team that you don't know what to expect. I hate saying it's a little generic for UOL, but they've been under so much pressure lately that in their semi-final, PoE really struggled with champion pool.
Yep.
So how on earth is he going to adapt? These are things that you don't know coming into tomorrow's series.
There's going to be less pressure on Expected from PoE. Horo looked like a shade of his former self in the playoffs so far, but we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, going to be an interesting series for tomorrow. For now, though, let's go head to Pulse on stage, who is joined by 2 of our regional qualifier finalists.
Thank you, Quickshot. I'm joined by Miffy and Peke after that nail-biter of a series. And first off, Peke, we were expecting Roccat to come out of the gate swinging so hard. That was a super tough series for both teams.
Yeah, they played super good, actually. Their comps is something we're not used to face. I think all this week and the last 2 weeks, we haven't played against anyone that has this style, and we didn't practice them for like a month almost. So it was really hard when they started to play their way. We were kind of lost because we didn't really know how to react at first, and I think like we were learning throughout the games, and each game we were like thinking, yeah, we're doing this wrong, but we were doing so many things bad. So.
Well, you did find the light eventually, and Miffy, how did the Braum priority go up? Because we saw from game to game how that changed. How was it by the final game? Because obviously you picked it very early on.
Okay, so I've been noticing that Braum is pretty OP for a while. Not after we lost against UL, but a bit after that. So we thought that they didn't play it, and then they surprised us by picking it one game, and they really outpicked us because we didn't expect the Braum pick. So we lost that game, and then we lost another game against Braum, and then we were like, okay, this champ is just like either we ban it or we first pick it. I don't know we didn't know what to do. So it just felt that we had to first pick Braum. We did, and it turned out well. I think we have like 100% win rate with Braum. Even against Fnatic, we won. The 2 games we won were with Braum, and then the game we lost, we were like, should we pick Braum? Because it's the last game of the series, you know. Should we pick Braum? It had 100% win rate, and I decided not to. And this time, I really want to play it because I made the mistake against Fnatic.
Well, perhaps the lucky charm is it did bring you a win once again. Back to you, Peke, in the mid lane. Heard Ralez talking about how good Nukeduck was. How was it like playing against him in the middle lane?
Well, the thing is, he plays a few champions really, really good. The first game, for example, he played Ari well, but it's not much he could do with Ari in that team comp. So even though we were behind early, it was about time that he would become useless with the team comp we had. Then the other games, the one he played last year, you could tell that he plays it a lot and he was doing really, really good. But still, it's a farm champion. Cannot do much if we don't do a mistake. It's more like a champion that punishes mistakes really good, and we play good. So it ended up going him and me just farming for 40, 50 minutes, 500 CS, and then late game one-shot whoever I touch because I have Victor who was last on AP.
Yeah, well, by the final game, it wasn't late game. It finished it very quickly. But last one here, Miffy. You're facing the Unicorns tomorrow. They can be super unpredictable, but also on a downward trend at the moment. How do you think that matchup is going to go?
I think we were more scared of Roccat because we had not seen anything of them for a long time, and the games against Giants didn't really give us enough information. I think against Unicorns, we're more confident, but at the same time, we respect them. They are where they are for a reason, so we're going to prepare hard and hopefully come with a win tomorrow too.
Yeah, prepare hard, come home with a win. Once again, congratulations on this win, and then good luck tomorrow, guys. We're going to throw it over to the analyst desk to take a look at that series.
Thank you very much, Pulse. We're just going to wrap up the series here, and remember that NA is going to take over right after that for their second round in the regional qualifier. Though, let's well, round up this series, take a look at the picks and bans from the last game, and maybe take a look at it with tomorrow's game in sight and maybe top priorities, as Missy already alluded to, that Braum.
Yeah, I mean, he just said they didn't know how to play against it, so they had to either ban it or first pick it. Obviously, that tells a lot about Mithy on this Braum pick here, but also just how strong he is in the current meta. We know he doesn't like to play it, even though normally he's more of the engaged type. His Braum has been okay, but this series, I mean, Origin outpicked Rocket in so many ways, in my opinion, if you look at the full team comp. What Rocket tried to do was have 3 winning lanes, at least pushing lanes, and then try and be like super aggressive in the early stages. But they've been losing the lane swap ever so slightly every single game so far.
In the same way, almost.
In the same way. And of course, exactly the same thing happens. It means the Sivir now has a way to get out of the Kalista lane and just start pushing out early towers, and a big goal lead suddenly happens for Origin.
And the thing is, it's not even as if it's a massive problem. There's that 10 seconds or so where Soaz is getting just that extra little bit onto the tower earlier, and it's a ripple effect throughout the entire of the early game that means that Rocket are just behind the curve ever so slightly. What I will say, though, is that was the first game that we were talking about where it was actually Origin that had the favorable picks and bans.
Yeah.
I feel like in every other game, Rocket were ahead of the curve on picks and bans. The players talked about it as well. That is not going to happen to Origin tomorrow. Unicorns, picks and bans were incredibly predictable over the last over the last 2 series we've seen from them.
Yeah, they were just so far behind in terms of the meta. They had another week now to practice. Maybe they found something new, but again, this game, the fact that we get this Kalista, who's no longer banned after being banned for 4 games, it almost felt like a trap.
Yeah.
That Rallis would lock it in, and then Rocket gave over the Kalista despite having so many mid lane bans as well, and Pekka had shown that Victor was probably his best champion in this series. He got it anyway in the second rotation, and Amazing got Elise, which still turned out to be fantastic in the early game. We cannot ignore the impact it can have. So I feel like Origin simply just got basically everything. Rocket tried to steal a little bit away, but it became too risky for them to play that kind of comp. They're not good enough in the early game to pull off a composition like this.
And it was also one of the first times, in my opinion, that we saw an OG, as we've known to have come to know them, winning in the summer split, where they get rolling and they snowball really hard and take the victory off that. Not looking at that game 5, though, entire series, of course, sad for Rocket that they are out in the end, but a marked improvement coming into this series. Nobody would have given them probably 5 games against Origin and shown real improvement. They have to get their head up high and move with that into the next season.
It definitely felt like Yamato's words yesterday rang true. 5-14 was their patch. They knew it inside out. They had a lot of time to prepare, looked very solid. Origin looked shaky today in the early onset of the games, which is a little worrying, but I don't think it's a massive problem. They had a lot of small problems that amounted to losses against Rocket. I think they should be able to fix them, you know, with discussions going into tomorrow.
I also think Unicorns won't be able to challenge them as much as Rocket here, at least when it comes to... I mean, some of the plays where we're saying they're too passive, it's also because Rocket is very good at setting up the defense in, you know, before the play will even start. So Rocket is... Or sorry, Origin is saying, let's play it safe and let's try and outscale instead. Unicorns will be a lot more crazy in many ways in how they want to play it out, and that gives a lot of openings for Origin to punish them.
Yep, that is tomorrow. One more thing about today's matchup. We're crowning a player of the series, and looking at today's set overall, we'd like to give that to Origin's Mythy. 71% kill participation in 5 games. 1 step closer to the World Championships for Origin, and he had a lot to do with it, with that Braum especially, but shot calling, decision making is something we've talked about so much already.
Yeah, this guy is so important for Origin in so many ways, but really his Braum play, the way, I mean, Krepo said it best, he's very good at getting hit by skill shots, and then the way he just positions in the front, the way he can also connect his ulti is so underrated on a lot of Braum players, because that ulti in itself can almost win you the fight alone. If you manage to zone off a guy and then knock up a second one, and like, it just enables these very quick kills in the start of fights, and he used it really well.
Yeah, very good games from Mythy and OG overall for putting it out. We also have another award to give out. Take a look at our garment of the series. According to you guys and girls on Twitter, 63% of you stress is wearing some kind of sock around his neck.
I agree.
The people have so good. It is a sock or a tiny scarf, actually.
I'm just getting ready. Winter is coming.
Winter is coming. We'll see. Well, with their win today and the little zoom, Origin have knocked Rocket out of the regional qualifier, and they will advance to tomorrow's finals, where they will face the Unicorns of Love for the last European seat at Worlds 2015. We said a lot about that series already. Want to look at momentum? Maybe we saw Amazing there on the player cam. Looking defeated, I don't know, maybe it was exhaustion, maybe it was not expecting that it would be brought all the way to 5 games, but they have to recap fast.
Yeah, I mean, Mythy was talking about how they were more afraid of Rocket than Unicorns of Love, so I guess it gives a lot of confidence coming into this series here. We have seen Unicorns play both the 3rd place match and the semifinal, where they got, you know, to show quite a lot of different picks in the pick and ban phase, and yet it was kind of the same, even though, yeah, we saw the Kayle with Devour, and we say that is a different pick, but we saw it a few times, and it felt like Unicorns just lacked some extra picks on this meta, on this patch. That is something Origin can punish, but also don't underestimate the Unicorns of Love. They had another week. they can suddenly surprise you with some picks coming
With
in.
some...
I'm going to say some meta picks, you know? If suddenly Power Vivo is picking up an Azir,
You banned us from saying magic, remember?
I'm not going to say magic at all. There's no magic here.
In a week, you think Kalista and Azir come out in a week? It's official.
It
You
only
are
has
a
to be one.
believer
Just
in
Azir.
I'm just saying, the thing is, if you go into the pick and ban phase, at least for game one, and you say, oh, they don't play any of those champions, and then you don't prioritize them because you can just take them later rotations, Unicorns will have the chance to maybe surprise you by taking meta picks. It sounds weird, surprise you by taking meta picks, but that's what we got to see from Unicorns if they want to win.
Well, all our questions and more will be answered tomorrow because that battle for a spot on the international stage starts at 5 p.m. Central European Time. That is 8 a.m. Pacific. And after we know our final Worlds contender here in Europe, we'll send it over to North America for their clash between Team Liquid and the winner of today's Best of 5. Well, TIP or Cloud9, that's coming up very soon. It's time to head over to NA for their semi-final matchup between Team Impulse and Cloud9. On behalf of myself and everyone here at the European LCS, thank you for joining us, and we'll meet you back here tomorrow for the final set of the 2015 Regional Qualifier.
Let's dive into the second round of the 2015 European Regional Qualifiers. That's one, that's two kills. Niels will be the third. It's just a matter of time. He's tumbling, he's ducking, he's diving, he's charged. Niels is down.
He's dead. I've repel. I'm gonna die. Never mind. Dangerous game. Never mind. Not dangerous. Good job. Push. End the game.
Really good.
No, we can't end. We can't end.
No, just taking it maybe.
We can end.
Origin come away 1-0. Stand United could get channeled. If Amazing wants to dive, they can. Sois takes a turret shot. They've traded. The ninja kills the fat man and the pirate kills the ninja.
Oh no.
I don't know. I'm behind you guys.
I'm gonna
Kill Panda.
I'm shielding. I'm coming. Go Ali.
MVP and Nash.
Go Nash.
Rocket take down Origin.
Gonna be nice to play some scrims on stage.
By the way, if anyone ever says whatever, you know, like I'll kill him, okay?
Whatever.
No, legit,
Walk the wall,
like,
man.
you know, the one phrase that tilts me the most when I hear it in-game after someone dies, it's like, whatever. It's like,
But that's how it feels every time. When
Yeah.
you that's rage and say, ah.
Gorky!
Go Varus.
Varus!
I have engaged with him.
Go, Varus! Nash!
Yes.
Get the blue. Beautiful.
And Rocket will go 2-1.
His vision, that will get denied afterwards anyways. Nukta gets got, he's dead!
That's it! One shot with the barrel. And Origin are making us go all the way.
ITP?
Yes!
He's dead. Coming.
No flash, no. I think.
I go back to lead already.
You get him?
Nice! Yes!
Nice, Drake.
There is nothing that Rocket can do. One more shot at the World Championships.